Hey 5th grade, welcome back. We're going to do surface area part 2. We're on page 332 today, and we're still talking about surface area as being the area of every surface on a shape. We're doing length times width of one side plus length times width of the other side plus length times width, going all the way around the shape. Sometimes you're going to have a shape like this that's kind of easy to find the surface area because every side has the same measurements. You figure out one side, then you just multiply that total area by how many sides you have altogether, how many faces are on that shape. Well, what happens when your shape doesn't exactly look like this anymore? What if they give you a shape that is a net instead? Well, we know that when we fold that net up, it makes a cube just the same. So whether that is in cube shape or whether it's in the shape of a net, you have all the measurements you need. You can find the length times the width of one surface and multiply that by how many surfaces are on your shape. You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surfaces. And if it's in the shape of a cube, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surfaces there too. So either way, I still have the same number of surfaces. I can still measure my length times my width for each of those surfaces and put all of that together. You can still do the same thing whether they give you a picture of a net or whether you have a picture of a shape. You're going to have some of both today, but most of them are actually going to look like a net this time. You have a lot of nets that you'll have to identify, and one of them looks a little bit like this. You have what we talked about with this shape, all the triangles putting together on a base, how this made a pyramid. This one did not make a prism. Why wasn't it a prism? Because the shape has the sides slanting in, they intersect with each other. They are not parallel. Well, you're going to have a shape like this one that's going to have the triangular sides. It's going to be a form of a pyramid. It is not going to make a prism because it does not have parallel sides that do not intersect with each other. So make sure you pay close attention when you have a shape that looks kind of like this. You also may have some shapes that look like this. Remember, this shape, actually, when we folded it together, it turned into a cylinder. Well, you'll have a shape like this, you'll have some cylinders like this, and when you make their nets, depending on how tall the cylinder is, the rectangle may look different, but this will be the net for those shapes. You'll also have some that look like this, or like this. Remember, when you rolled them together, it turned into a cone shape. But it's still a three-dimensional shape. It still has a base. You'll be able to name those in the review section. It'll show you all the different nets that we've been talking about. You'll be able to go through and name them. You're not going to have to find the surface area of a shape like this, but you will have to find the surface area of cubes, rectangular prisms, and a couple of nets that form cubes when they're folded together. So make sure that you use the same strategy, still length times width, and you're still putting together every surface, every face of that shape when you get your total area. Just working on page 332 today, the same as last time, but this time you're going to be looking at nets and shapes instead of just one or the other. If you have any questions, let me know and we'll work through it, whatever it is. And if you're having trouble identifying the nets and the shapes, there's some things that I can pull out and give you. So just send me a message and let me know, and we'll get that to you. Good luck.